Hi Wakazoo, Mrs. Foy here. I'm excited to share another story with you today. Today I'm going to be reading a story called My Grandfather's Coat, and it's written by Jim Aylesworth, and this is actually retold based on a Yiddish folk song. So here's My Grandfather's Coat. My grandfather came to America when he was very young. He came alone and with little more than nothing at all. The years passed and he became a tailor. He worked very hard. And then, on the luckiest day of his life, he met my grandmother, and they fell in love. When she agreed to marry him, my grandfather went right to work. He snipped and he clipped and he stitched and he sewed, and he made for himself a handsome coat that he wore on his wedding day. My grandfather loved the coat, and he wore it, and he wore it, and little bit by little bit, he frayed and he tore it, until at last he wore it out. So what did my grandfather do? He went right to work, and he snipped, and he clipped, and he stitched, and he sewed, and out of the still good cloth of his handsome coat, he made a smart jacket. My grandfather loved the jacket, and he wore it, and he wore it, and little bit by little bit, he frayed, and he tore it, until at last he wore it out. So what did my grandfather do? He went right to work, and he snipped, and he clipped, and he stitched, and he sewed, and out of the still good cloth of his smart jacket, he made a snazzy vest. My grandfather loved the vest, and he wore it, and he wore it, and little bit by little bit, he frayed, and he tore it, until at last he wore it out. So what did my grandfather do? He went right to work, and he snipped, and he clipped, and he stitched, and he sewed, and out of the still good cloth of his snazzy vest, he made a stylish tie that he wore on my mother's wedding day. My grandfather loved the tie, and he wore it, and he wore it, and little bit by little bit, he frayed and he tore it, until at last he wore it out. So what did my grandfather do? He sat right down, and he snipped, and he clipped, and he stitched, and he sewed, and out of the still good cloth of his stylish tie, he made a toy for you and your kittens. You and the kittens loved the toy, and you played with it. You played with it, and little bit by little bit, you tore it and you frayed it, until at last you wore it out. It's okay, said my grandfather. Nothing has been wasted. And up the stairs to bed my grandfather carried you, while tattered and torn, what little remained of your kitten's toy was left lying on the floor. And late, 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 when we were all soundly sleeping, a mother mouse came creeping, 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 and she found it there. Just the thing to make a nest, thought the mother mouse, and she pulled it across the floor. And there in her little house behind the walls, she tore the threads apart, and she puffed them, and she fluffed them, and out of those last bits of tattered cloth, she made a cozy nest. There she raised her family. Then slowly the threads moldered away and moldered away until there was nothing left at all. No, nothing left of the cozy nest, and nothing left of the kitten's toy, and nothing left of the stylish tie, and nothing left of the snazzy vest, and nothing left of the smart jacket, and nothing left of at all of your great-grandfather's handsome coat. No, there was nothing at all. Nothing, that is, except for this story. So in my grandfather's coat, the main character, the grandfather, took something that was really special to him and he kept turning it into something new, right? So what are some of the things that he turned his special wedding outfit into? He turned it into a jacket and a vest and a tie and even a toy for his grandson, until finally it became a nest for a mouse. And I wondered, what are some things that you can find around your house that you can reuse and turn into something new? I'd be excited to find out. Thanks for listening to my story, Wakazoo. Bye.